and welcome. Thank you for stopping in for this talk on workload organization for students. I am here to share some tips with you on how to juggle all your responsibilities and keep track of everything that you have to do. Let's get started. I want to assure you that I'm aware that students have responsibilities outside of class. A lot of students nowadays work part-time or full-time in addition to attending school. Some of you are parents, some of you are caretakers for family members, or have a myriad of other responsibilities. So I'm aware that 100% of your attention can't necessarily be applied to my class. However, in college, you choose the number of classes that you take, as opposed to maybe in high school where you were given a schedule and perhaps faculty members did coordinate with one another on when exams were and what homework loads were like. In college, that doesn't happen. Faculty members don't coordinate with each other on those things because you're choosing all of your courses yourself. So you might choose one course, you might choose 6 courses, you might choose all of your courses in one department, or you might pick and choose courses from all over different parts of campus. And that puts the onus on you as the student to be realistic about the amount of work you can handle and to make adjustments where you need to. So the first tip I'm going to give you is I'm going to encourage everybody to, on the first week of class, first of all, go to class. Don't think that first day is, oh, it's just syllabus day. Syllabus day is important because that's where you get an introduction to the course and to the professor, how much work is going to be expected. You get an idea of what the timeline of the course is going to be like. So that's really important and useful information. At most universities, the drop-in period lasts through the first week of classes. So if you go to class that first week, gather that information together, you're well positioned to have a realistic look at how much work can I handle and am I biting off more than I can chew. Now I know it's an economic consideration for many students. Because of block tuition, a lot of students want to take the maximum number of courses that they can take, and or they want to finish their degree in the shortest amount of time possible. And those are valid considerations, but at the same time, if you're going to be overloaded, overworked, and overstressed, you're not going to be at your best. So that first week of classes is a good time to assess what the workload ahead looks like and whether or not that's really what you want to sign up for, or if you need to make some adjustments there. As you begin to sort out your timeline for the upcoming semester, you're going to need these tools, okay? First of all, you're going to need your syllabus, the syllabus for every class you're taking. So if you're taking 4 courses, you should have those 4 syllabi in front of you, whether they're on paper, on your computer screen, or whatever. Have those available in front of you. Likewise, have the schedule for each class. This is usually part of the syllabus. It's a grid presentation normally that has dates and assignments in it, so you need that. You'll need your planner or task list, whatever it is you do to keep track of your appointments. Now for many people, they might use a paper planner, they might use the alarms on their phone, they might use an Excel spreadsheet, they might use a paper list. It doesn't matter, whatever works best for you, but you're going to need that particular tool handy. And then the last thing, willingness to ask for help. If there's anything you don't understand or anything that you need help with rearranging, you need to be willing to go to the right people for help, and we'll talk about how to do that in just a moment. Let's start by talking about what kind of information you're going to find in the syllabus. This is where you should be able to find your professor contact information, their name, their email address, their office phone number, their office hours list. You'll find your required course materials. If there is a textbook for the course, it should be listed on the syllabus. The syllabus will usually include policies about things like attendance, absences, making up work, whether or not the professor accepts late work. So review all that information for each of your courses so you know what to expect from that instructor. The syllabus often will have assignments and point breakdowns for those assignments, so you know exactly what work you're going to be asked to do and how much of your grade that work is worth. So you'll know how many written assignments are in this course, how many homeworks you might have, how many exams you might have. And a syllabus usually includes a grading scale to let you know how many points or what percentage you have to accumulate to earn an A or a B, etc. So to begin with, I recommend that you go through each of your syllabi, whether it's one syllabus or 6, however many you have, and just give yourself an overview of this information. How do I get a hold of this professor? What are the required course materials? What are the class policies? Get a general idea of that before you go forward. Once you have a basic overview of all your syllabi, the next thing you want to do is look at the schedule for each of your courses. So find the schedule in the syllabus, or it could be in a separate document that the instructor gives you. It could be something that they've posted on e-learning. Track it down, find it, and gather them together. If you've got one course or 6 courses, get all of those schedules together. It often looks something like this. This is an excerpt from one of my old ones where I have the week of the semester, the dates, the topic we're studying, what you're supposed to read, and any assignment that is due. So I try to lay it out very clearly. Others might take a different format, but this is the kind of thing you're looking for. Now, I will often print these off and stick them in my planner or pin them up above my computer on the wall or whatever it is that you do in order to keep track of these. You want to lay these all out side by side and start looking at week by week. Okay, week 1, in each course, what have you got going on? How many chapters are you supposed to read? What assignments are due? And do that for week 2, week 3, week 4. Lay these out parallel to each other if you can, and look at that workload week by week. Once you've gotten that overview, you'll be ready to actually put dates into your planner. When I start entering tasks into my planner, I start with the fixed appointments. That means a certain day and time you have to be in a certain place doing a certain thing. So put your courses on there. If you have a class on Tuesday, Thursday in the morning, and you have a class on Tuesday, Thursday in the afternoon, and you have a Wednesday night class every week, put that in your planner every week so that time is blocked off. If you work outside of going to school, you'll need to put your work schedule on there. So you'll need to block off those different times when you're expected to be at work. Any other kind of recurring appointments or meetings you have, whether it's a medical thing or an organization you belong to, block those off. And as you do this procedure, you're going to notice that your calendar is filling up pretty fast. There are some blank spots in between things, but there aren't as many of them as you may have imagined, especially if you're taking a large number of classes. So now you're looking at what are you going to do with the blank spots, right? Be realistic about what time your day starts in the morning. If your first class is at 10, realistically, are you going to get up at 7 and do a couple of hours of work before class, or are you probably going to sleep late and you'll make your 10 o'clock class, but maybe your work day isn't going to start until after that? Be realistic about that. When you look at the blank spots on your schedule, I encourage you to put them into half-hour blocks. Okay, so if you have an hour between classes in the morning, that's 2 task blocks. If you have 2 hours between classes in the afternoon, that's 4 task blocks. So if you map out how many of these half-hour task blocks you have in the day, that will give you a realistic sense of how much work you might be able to get done in any given day. Don't forget to allow yourself time for meals and socializing and things like that. So in the end of that process, you're going to get down to a few task blocks available during your day. Now we need to figure out what we're going to do in those task blocks. So again, go back to that schedule and look at your assignments. You have a paper due at the end of week 2. I urge you to go back to the end of week 1. Give yourself a week's advance notice there and put it in your calendar and say, paper due 1 week for today. If you have readings or exams coming up, I urge you to back up from those dates and put it in your calendar, exam 1 week from today, that kind of thing. Give yourself time to prepare. Also give yourself time to do readings. And you know your own reading and study speed. So look at the number of task blocks you have available and the amount of reading and homework you have to do, and start shuffling it in, start fitting it in. And if you use this method, it's going to force you to be really realistic about how much time you have. If you're like me, I'm not always really good at estimating how much time things will take or how much time I have to do something. I tend to put it off too late, and then there's not enough time to do the job I would have liked to do. But since I've been using this task block method, it has helped me tremendously. It forces you to be honest about how much time you have available, and it makes me work more diligently during those half-hour blocks, because I can see on my calendar how limited they really are and how few of those blocks I really have. So I urge you to lay out your planner in a similar fashion. Put the fixed dates in first, then consider how many of these half-hour task blocks you realistically have during any given day, and what are you going to do with them. Another tool that you need to have is the willingness to ask for help. Don't let this task overwhelm you or seem too daunting. There is assistance available in many areas and in many ways. You can talk to your instructor about how to manage the workload for their course. Meet with that professor during office hours and just ask them what are their recommendations for how much time you should spend on things and where you should concentrate most of your effort in their course. Most of us would be happy to have that conversation with you. Your academic advisor is a good source for scheduling issues. If you feel maybe you're taking too many courses, or you're concerned about taking a couple of courses at the same time, if you're concerned about this course as a prerequisite for that one, or if I drop this course this semester, when would I be able to take it next? Those are the kinds of questions that your academic advisor can answer. If you're feeling overwhelmed in an emotional or mental health sense, I strongly recommend you go to the Student Health Center and seek help with that. There are counselors and doctors available on staff there who are always available and happy to help students manage those emotional components of their workload. I wish you a wonderful semester. Leave me a comment letting me know how these guidelines worked for you and if there's anything that you would add, and I will see you again soon. Bye.